wanted to discuss something. This is like a hypothetical story. The other day I stopped by in Bloomingburg and I saw a gentleman. I see him every now and then. He sits there, reads the newspaper on Main Street. I always say hello to him. This time I was in a little bit of a rush. I went out of my way to say hello, good morning, God bless you, wish you all the best, it's good to see you, and he ignored me. I was in a rush, I had to go somewhere on the way back. If I would have seen him, maybe I would have engaged him a little bit more. I was on my way to work. And if I had a few minutes, I just need to see, once I had to go. And, this is what I would have said to him if I had the opportunity, if he hadn't walked away. I would have first said, I'm interested in building bridges, interested in what can we do to make peace in the community. But I'd also explain to him what's really going on. Because really, a lot of folks say, the anti-Semitism is rampant in these communities. It's not true. When you talk to non-Jewish people who've lived in these communities their whole lives, most of them are extremely happy. Who is it who's fighting it? And they're not even hiding it. They're all secular Jews, self-hating Jews, leftists. When you really get into the history of these people who've brought so much destruction to America, to Western society, the Western culture, by taking the world away from the Judeo-Christian values upon which America was founded on, taking away from the freedom of religion, trying to go toward Marxism, secularism, and things like this. You realize what turns out is it's not anti-Semitism but Jewish self-hatred that's behind these things, because like I said, and it's crazy that they hide behind a banner of rural community, rural heritage, because none of these people have rural heritage. My family has been in Sullivan County twice as long as any of these people. And the people who have, like I said, have lived their whole lives in Bloomingburg are very supportive of this. But it runs deeper than that. Because the liberal progressive agenda, which is not liberal at all, it's really the most, it's ironic that they call themselves liberals. They're really leftists. At least Hillary Clinton is honest enough to call herself, she says she's not a liberal, she's a progressive. Because liberalism means that you accept everyone. And the left does not accept anyone who disagrees with them. And they demonize them and try to paint them as things which they aren't. And we've seen this, of course, even though Trump is also somewhat of a progressive, and that's also problematic. But the way that the left has painted Trump as a racist and all these things that he clearly isn't. I mean, this is the man who was the first in that area of Florida to open his country clubs to blacks and to Jews. You cannot call this man a racist. I don't know. He said some things that are out of character for him, which kind of make me suspect that perhaps he's just a plant for Hillary. But I don't know. Maybe it's like that movie, The Producers, where they thought you'd get more by losing than by winning. By having a play that's a flop and then it winds up being a success, and it's exactly what they don't want. And it almost seems like that's what's going on with Trump, because we can only hope that Hillary loses. Today's Will Rogers' birthday. And Will Rogers was famous saying, he never voted for anyone, he only votes against, and I'm not voting for Trump, but I'm voting against Hillary. And if to do that practically means to vote for Trump, I might have to hold my nose. If we have a few days left, maybe the third-party candidates might pick up some more steam, and then it will be, something what we could do with that. Maybe Hillary will leave. We can only hope, and then that's a whole different thing. In any event, we have to find out who are these people the progressive movement, the leftist progressive movement, really statists, Marxists, they're quite dangerous to the founding principles on which America was built on, meaning they don't believe in the Constitution, they don't believe in individual freedoms. Obama, he has said, that individual salvation requires collective salvation, things like this, which run counterintuitive to the concepts of liberty and libertarian ideals on which the Constitution was founded on and framed upon the Declaration of Independence. And it really runs it more in line with Marxist ideas, and that's really what's behind this. And so I know a lot of well-meaning people who, might get swept up in these types of, front groups that you have, whether it's in Bloomingburg, Joel, Ramapo, and so forth. But if any of you who are involved with this are church-going Christians, which are the backbone of what America was built on, America was built on what they called the Black Robe Brigade, really. That's what the King of England was most afraid of, because he was the statist par excellence. And, that's why he sought to put an end to religious freedom and to have complete control, of government controlling the churches. And so at that time it was through having the government church. Now it's through this ruse of separation of church and state, that somehow freedom of religion is freedom from religion, which is not the case. It's freedom of religion is freedom from any one particular religious denomination being prominent on the federal level, which is really what it was intended from the beginning. It's clear from even from Jefferson himself. It was clear that he believed that the states and local governments did have the right, under the 10th Amendment, to have their own religions. It was only the federal government in which the Establishment Clause prevented from having a particular religion or denomination. But that's and it wasn't until the KKK sought to discriminate against Catholics in New Jersey in the late 40s, and we had a court that FDR had tried to pack the court, by adding more judges, but he wound up packing the court just by sheer fact that he was president longer than any other president, and he was able to. And so the aftermath of FDR was really so damaging. A lot of folks say that Hillary would be a third term of Obama. I would really say she'd be more like a fifth term of FDR, or another term of Woodrow Wilson. These types of people, and of which Obama was in their tradition as well, very clearly. And that's the danger that we have, is that the undermining of the founding principles on which this country was built on. And really, essentially, these folks, who are all self-hating Jews, who are fighting against, some of which are not even Americans. There's one fellow on Twitter who's very vocal. He's Canadian. So he's not American, so why, and I don't even know what business he has. He says he's from Manitoba. He's not American. So what business does he have, getting involved in a country like America, which has freedom of religion? If he doesn't like it, go back to Canada. They have an official church. It's the Church of England, and that's it. And that's what, because the Queen of England's their queen. She's basically the Pope of the Church of England, which is fine. I mean, you see, in America, even these state-aligned churches have more freedom and have a different outlook on life. Meaning, an Episcopal in America is not verkauft to the Church of England that way. It's a much different approach. A Catholic in America has a much broader idea. A Jew in America has a much broader idea than a Jew in Israel who's verkauft to the Rabbanut, to these state religions. And those state religions just wind up making the countries not religious. One friend of mine, he pointed out, look at almost no one goes to church in Italy. Almost no one goes to church in England. All these countries, whereas in America is a vibrant religious culture. Unfortunately, New York has had a big influence from the left, and it's not as much of a church-going state as it should be. But that being put aside, a lot of folks do find a tremendous solace in faith and religion and so forth. But in any event, my message to the folks, Christians who go to church in Bloomingburg and Monroe and in Rockland County, these places, you should know that the fight against the Hasidic Jews is the liberal atheist statists trying to test the water. You should really know that the Hasidic community is the canary in the coal mine of religious freedom. This is not an issue of anti-Semitism, blah, 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 all that stuff. This is an issue of religious freedom for all Americans. And I would say also for the atheists as well, and the agnostics and the secular humanists, people like Penn Jillette, who are libertarian, or Austin Peterson, people like this who are not religious people, but they respect the religious foundations of America, and they respect the freedom that each individual has, just like they want to have their freedom to be atheist, agnostic, and they don't want that to be trampled on. They don't seek to trample on the freedom of religious people, and that's how it's supposed to be. But the leftists, people like Holly Roach, people like Emily Conver, and these type of people, who often they'll use environmentalism, which is of course a well-known ruse. It really has nothing to do with the environment, it only has to do with control. Those people, they don't want to just shut down our synagogues. When they get their goal, that's just testing the waters. They really want to shut down your churches. And so the church-going Christians and all people who care about liberty, even if you don't believe in God, should really be united with the Hasidic community in this fight against the liberals, the leftists, the statists, who are trying to take away freedom of religion and all types of freedoms, freedom of speech, all kinds of freedoms, all kinds of liberties. Everything that this country was built upon is being threatened by these people. And so I want to extend an olive branch, hypothetically, to this man who's sitting reading his newspaper and ignoring me, to say, we're on the same team. Don't be fooled by these leftists, these Erev Rav people, and you can watch my other video about who the Erev Rav really are. It was something I made on Purim, and we can discuss that more. Maybe I'll make another video about that another time. And in that way, we can have unity, because this is a nation of diversity. This is what America was founded on: religious freedom. The Hasidic Jews aren't just like the pilgrims because we wear black hats. We really represent what America was founded on, the founding principles of America. We're patriotic Americans. We don't have dual loyalties to Israel, which is a country which is socialist, which is statist, which has a government-linked religion. We disavow all these things. We believe in freedom. We don't seek to impose our views on anyone else. We're truly a libertarian community who wants to live and let live. And want the same freedoms that we have for all of you as well. We want equal rights for us and equal rights for you as well. And so in that way, we can have peace and live together and overcome all these adversities. Excuse me. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure I'll have some hate views for this as well, because these leftists, they control the media and the banks and all these groups. And so, but that's fine. And so, but I want to let everyone know that we're seeking peace with everyone, and to those who maybe are on the left, liberalism is a beautiful thing, to accept other people, to want to live in peace with others. That's nice, but don't try to impose on other people. It's time to repent. It's time to come home. You're always welcome in our synagogue. If you're not trying to shut us down, you're not trying to be a spy who's trying to just, find some excuse to report us to the police or something. I don't know, which is what a lot of those folks do, even though there's nothing to hide. Everything we're doing is legal. This is a free country. We have the religious land use. It's a federal law. But a lot of folks, are trying to snoop around, this, that, whatever. So repent and turn back. Why are you fighting against the Torah? Why are you fighting against freedom? Why are you fighting against God? I don't understand. I want to be in peace with you as well. I want to welcome you back into our family. And we just had Yom Kippur. It's time for you to repent and come back and stop fighting against Torah. We're just trying to live our lives, and we're not even trying to force it down your throat. But you're free to come and join us as well if you want. But please don't fight us. We don't fight you. We don't try to stop you from having your temples or your groups or anything that you want. We just want to live in peace with everybody. And in that way, we should be worthy to see a world where peace is everywhere. God bless. All right, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk to you all later.